I'm kind of working my way through a bunch of Lenormand deck walkthroughs today, and I am so excited about this deck. Mr. Lee sent me this deck when he was kind of cleaning out his collection, and it was right after I had finished my Lenormand class, and we talked about the Lenormand. This is a Das Spiel der Hoffnung. I'm sure I slaughtered that, or as the Game of Throats. Oh my goodness, the Game of Hope. See, I'm so excited I can't talk. So this is sort of the original, or the beginning of Lenormand. It's a reprint of the original cards from 1799 by kind permission of the British Museum, London, edited by Alexander Gluck. The booklet contains the historic game rules and instructions how to read this oracle today. This is by A.G.M. Mueller. As somebody who adores Lenormand, it's probably, I've said before, it's probably a little more than half of my business is Lenormand readings. I love the history. I go through the history with my class. It's so exciting to have a copy of these cards. I get literally just made my day to see this. I didn't even know, I don't know that I knew. I'd seen images. I think my friend Bart had shown me images of it, but I don't think I realized that you could pick it up. So that is so exciting. So you, of course, have it in German, I hope. Yes, nope, this is something else. Come on, give us an English. Yes. So here we have the English, and these are, now we talked about these in class. I have these on my worksheets, and so I love that you have the original game. And I love that it says there's makes note, even back in 1799, with these same cards, it is also possible to play an entertaining game of oracles by shuffling the 36 cards and then letting the person for whom the oracle is meant cut the cards. Then laying out the cards in 5 rows with 4 rows of 8 cards each and the 5th row with the remaining 4 cards. But in the game part, you laid out 9 by 4, so that's how you get your 2 grand tableau spreads. And then so on and so forth. But he talks about this even in the 1799. They were, they put that about reading it as an oracle. So I love that. The fact that even Hydra was able to fall back on a precursor is a subject of further investigation. So yeah, we haven't seen the precursor, but there was discussion of that. It was not until 50 years later that the figures from the Game of Hope reappeared, this time in the publishing house of J.F. August Reif in Koblenz. Decades had passed since passed, and the creator of the Game of Hope was long dead. Go on and talk about this. The reprint, he used the person's name, obviously Mademoiselle Lenormand, in order to sell the cards. And then, of course, it gives us our kind of standard, what we now use as the meanings for the cards. So I love, I mean, I can't even tell you how excited I am to have this lovely large. Now this, I'm not a huge fan of large because certainly would have a hard time doing a grand tableau with this deck, but be that as may, it's going to be wonderful for class and doing 9 cards and such like that. So again, this is AGM Mueller. The cardstock's nice. I find AGM to do nice cardstock. It is large, so a typical Lenormand deck is poker or bridge size, and this is definitely larger. But again, I love the backings with the double clovers. It's gorgeous. It has a set of German playing cards and a set of French playing cards on it, so that's this way it was all in one. You could play the Game of Hope, you could play any German playing card games, and you could play any French German playing card games. So it was kind of billed as that all in one, the only deck that you're going to need kind of thing, which is just so awesome. Let me put these right side up and in order, and let's take a look at these lovely cards. This is the beginning of Lenormand, people. So here we go. It's so I'm so excited about this. I love what is said here when it says, thus arose, well, let me go back a little bit. Let's look at this introduction because I love this. The game of hope was designed at a time when the conception of being responsible and having mastery over one's own life became popular. One's personal journey through life was also seen as a series of events driven by fate. There's luck and bad luck and the hand of fate, but people also have the ability and the duty to take their life into their own hands. Thus arose a parlor game that reflected this perception of life. The aim of the game is to get through it successfully, collecting capital or tokens. You get tokens along the way. The winner is the first player to reach 35, the anchor, the symbol of hope. If the dice lead you to the next hand, the cross, then you're stuck there for a while. The whole structure of this game, the journey through life determined by fate, hope, malaise, suggests the use of an oracle, and there's even a description which we talked about. It is this cultural development that makes the Lenormand cards impressive, I'm reading later on. It shows why the basis of the oracle is attentiveness, how one deals with the hand of fate, a coincidental meaning, a sign, or even a card that is dealt. How you allow yourself to be inspired by these coincidences or signs comes down to your innermost receptions, your attitude to life. Thus, this is the key to the interpretive power of these and other cards. They won't predict a lottery win or a car accident, but they can inspire you to actively deal with the many possibilities that our perception and our daily lives offer us. So here is the, so it talks about, this is the actual text, the Game of Hope with a new figure sheet, an illuminated 36 sheets, and it says second improved edition. And so that's what's really interesting, right? Because that's what they're talking about, how it reflects that there was one before 1799, but we don't, as of right now, we don't have that or have access to that. So you can see that we have the rider here riding off on his horse. I mean, I'm so excited to have these. Look at the bells for the German and then the diamonds here. The clover, I mean, it's a clover. It's the clover from the back of the deck. The ship. Let's take a look here. The ship is the first one on the list. The one who throws 3 pips and thus gets to the ship, so when you're casting your dice, will happily be taken by this ship to the Canary Islands, where the well-known beautiful birds are at home, number 12. So this, if you think about all of Lenormand set out like a board game, 4 rows of 9, this would allow you to skip forward to 12, which is the birds. Here is the house card. Then you have to pay 2 marks to the doorkeeper in order to get to the house. Trees. The dark clouds here, you get pushed back to the number 2 card. Then we have the snake card here. To stay safe from the bite of this dangerous snake, 3 marks have to be paid. So you're either getting marks or paying marks. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. I just love this. Here we have the coffin card. Look, you can see sort of a burn in the paper. You're deemed dead until another player comes to the sheet or until he casts a double. For when it is his turn to roll the dice, you get to roll until you get a double to get out of there, or somebody else gets on there with you. We have the bouquet, the scythe. Love the cut down. Love the, look at that. Just so much love. This is the rod, which does look to have blood on here, right? So as not to be castigated by this rod, one pays 2 marks. But if you do move 2 marks, you can move forward 2 spaces. So that's good. We have the bird card, the child card, the fox card. The cunning fox leads the player astray, and he has to find refuge in the wood at number 5. So you have to go back from 14 all the way back to 5. We have the bear. The 16, you get 6 marks for getting to the 16. The stork. who has caught a frog, the dog, the tower. To enjoy this pleasant vista from the tower, you pay 2 marks, but you get a good view. So it really just show that view ahead. Love these playing cards. 20, here we have the gardens. 21, we have the mountains. You are in the steep Alps, so we are in the mountains. You have to stay there until somebody releases, so it's an obstacle until he casts a double. We have the path here, which leads around the mountains, but whoops, back to the garden. Here we have the mice card, the heart card. You can immediately offer the heart to the young gentleman or the lady. That is to say, if you are a woman, then you would go to 28. If you're a man, you would go to 29. That kind of sucks, so you get to go one further. You get 3 marks for getting married. You know, marriage was a little different then. Get some money, get your dowry. We have the book card. But this was actually called a grimoire, and there is a hex in it. So if you read the grimoire, there's a hex inside of it, and you'll get sent backwards to the garden. So that really does sort of play out, you know, that idea of the secrets of the book card. A letter. You have to pay a fee, so you have to pay for the stamp. Again, the 28 and the 29. The 28 gets to, oh no, I had it actually wrong the last time. I don't know what I was thinking. The lady gets to move forward to further than the man. So I guess they were being gentlemen. Okay, all right, that's okay. This one gets to go on to the sun. However, but if you came here by the way of heart, then you don't get to keep on going, which makes sense. The young lady, we do have the man and the lady facing each other. Leads on to 32, unless one comes here through the heart, as we saw before. We have the lovely lily cards, the sun card, the moon card. The key card, you get 2 marks for this. For the fish card, you actually have to pay 2, which is interesting when you think of this as finances, right? Maybe I thought maybe you would get 2 marks for it, but you have to pay for it. Then this is the most important card in the deck, because when you get here, you've won the game and you get to take all of the money. So you're putting money into pool and taking money out of the pool, and whoever gets to the anchor gets all of the money. And then if you were so unlucky to have rolled 1 more than the winning one, it takes you to the cross, and you are stuck there until another one takes this burden off of him or he throws a double. And then if you go beyond it, you have to go backwards. Like, there's all kinds of things to go on from there. Oh, how amazing is that to be able to look at this deck from 1799, knowing that there was another deck before, knowing that they also, you know, recommended this deck for an oracle. I mean, it's so cool. I've seen, of course, all the images online, but to have a reproduction of the deck makes my heart so happy. So let us take a look at a 9 card, because I don't believe I can do a grand tableau and have that be seen. Cards are, it's thick and smooth, kind of a silky smooth. I do like AGM cardstock. I don't know when this was actually put out. I'm looking here. It looks like 2014. So now I am going to look for the woman card. There she is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, where'd she go? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me zoom out even further. Make some room here for these bigger cards. Yes, I could trim them, and I might think about that actually, to make them more usable. It wouldn't hurt the back of it at all, so I probably would trim these. You know, that would horrify some people, but it's not like it's the actual original deck. It isn't going to hurt anything. And obviously the original deck would have just been the squares there. So there we have it. We have some obstacles ahead for this lovely person. When we look in the upper corner there, in the future, trust them. You need to have some trust and loyalty, because maybe a hex is going to come or secrets are going to come out. And look at that. I didn't notice that. Look at the fox after the rooster, right? And you have to be smart about it. That's kind of how I read the fox. You got to be cunning. You've got to, you're going to have to work your way through some situations, but trust, find some people that you can trust as you navigate these tricky secrets, and have to be really smart as you're moving forward to get around these obstacles or something. Anyways, I absolutely love, love, love being able to take a look at this deck, and it's a joy. It is something I will be using a lot in my classes, and so yeah, so thrilled to be able to take a look at this, where all of this started with the Game of Hope. I really wish that the name Lenormand would change to people using the Game of Hope more often, because that's what it was. It was the Game of Hope. It didn't have anything to do with, but so it's so ingrained into the myth of the cards that I understand why it's not, but I do love it.